something changed when I stopped looking at the symbols on the dollar bill as what it is and start saying, who put it there and why did they put all of these type of symbols on the dollar bill? Were there some hidden message for us, or was that some markup territory for them? Let's get into it. So today, even though there's a lot more on this dollar bill, I'm going to go through 10 of these hidden symbols, which there's probably 50 of them. So we'll do more videos in the future. It just depends on you. If in the comments you tell me to keep going, I'll show you more. And when we get to the front, I will then show you why we're moving to cryptocurrency. And they had already told us in this dollar bill that the money was coming to an end. So as you can see, we have 10 different areas that I'm pointing to with these arrows, and I'm gonna go through each one of these individually, starting with number 1. This was where number 1 is. This says Novus Ordo Seclorum, and this have a hidden meaning, and let me tell you what it is. This is Latin, and it stands for the new order of ages is born. And literally what this really means is they're saying that this is a new world order. And they say it right up front, right in our faces, so we know where the world is going, but they claimed it right here when they first did this one. So let's move over to number 2. So we're gonna point right here to where number 2 went, okay? And this is number 2 out of the 10, which is actually these two words together. These two words is Anut Copious. And what this means is he has favored our undertakings. He has favored our that's Anut Copious. You can go look this up in dictionary.com as well, so you can find the hidden.
Greetings to the Conscious Collective. I came across this video about the secret meanings on money, and I thought it'd be interesting. So we're going to watch it, and I'll make some commentary about it. But I thought it was an interesting video I wanted to share with the Conscious Collective. Greetings, Divine Rising. Thank you for joining me this morning. Let's finish this video.
Meanings and what this means, and we'll put it all together at the end. Next, we'll get into what I call number 3, which I pointed here, but it's really going to be the entire pyramid itself. Now, in the beginning, type of symbols was just a position of authority until I start studying the geometry and the hidden meanings of all of these particular parts of what they have here on this dollar bill. So when you think about number 3, it is the Egyptian pyramid as a whole. And if you go back, the Illuminati was one of the people that decided to, I would say, steal or use this particular symbol as a symbol of power. And when you go back to this triangle, it was a representation of the ancient wisdom in Egypt itself. And so also in the Bible, when they talk about, and this is some historians say that Egypt was the unsaved world, that they said that was rebelling against God.
Now, my thoughts about the pyramid, and I just want to interject this really quickly as we finish out this video. If you wanted to share a very powerful message through time for millions and millions of years, right? If you wanted to share something that you thought was very important for humanity, how would you go about sharing it? If you did it on paper, paper would disintegrate, get burned, erased, right? If you did it in any other kind of traditional way, like word of mouth, storytelling, it gets corrupted, right? But what if you put that message in a monument, something that will last millions and millions of years, at least thousands of years, something you wanted to share, you would put it in some type of monument. And I think you would put it in some type of language that humanity understands. And I'm talking about sacred geometry. See, we speak different languages, but we all have this sacred geometry understanding of how the universe operates in sacred geometry. And so you would do it in such a shape. That's why I think the pyramid is such an attractive monument to humanity, is because there's a message there, and you see that shape in a lot of things. But let me let him finish that. That's what I think the pyramid were actually communicating a message down through time.
And that was some of the stories that they were saying that Egypt. Now we can always say, well, was it because they were telling the truth and the Bible had their own version of what God was or wanted us to think? Possibly that could be. Put your thoughts in the chat and let me know what you think about this particular number 3 here. Now here's number 4. Now here's where the pattern starts to become a system. Now
the reason we're looking at money, and I want to say this really quick, we're going to finish this video. I hope everyone's doing great today. Thank you for joining me. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Please like and subscribe. The reason I wanted to look at this, because things are not just done haphazardly or without care or without thought. There's a reasoning behind a lot of things. So like if you see a symbol on the ground with an arrow, right, it's meaning to follow it, right? It's not just when you're taking something like money or some type of device, you want to put meaning into it. You want to put symbols around it. So we're trying to decipher exactly what these symbols is. The money is specifically designed for a lot of things, right? It's an energetic tool, and these are the spells on it. So I just wanted to let him, cook on it for a minute, and we're going to get into the rest of our talk. We got a long talk today. We're going to do some readings, some tarot card readings, and along with some other things.
Now, this is the representation of the all-seeing eye, and it always been related to Horus. When you go back and look from, again, this was taken from the Egyptians, and Horus at the time was also represented, or he was worshipped as what we consider protection. And so that was one of the things, the way that they represented Horus. And then he was always depicting him as a hawk, right? And then he would always be seen catching his prey. So that was the part of Horus being the protector. And they also said that Horus, he was the son of Isis and Osiris. The way
those that know can tell me what is the name of the other eye. There are 2 eyes. One is the eye of Horus. What is the name of the other eye? So if you've been really rocking with me, you know the name of the other eye, and you realize there are 2 eyes, right? Or Wajis, as they call them, right? So what's another name of it?
That the mythology or the Egyptian mythology said that Horus was born out of, which was important to know, which is witchcraft. This is what some of the historian stories, and you can go look this up yourself to kind of verify any of this information. But Horus was the son of Isis and Osiris, and through some of the mythology is that he was born through some type of sorcery or witchcraft. Exactly. And that was ancient Egyptian mythology. Now, later on, this particular falcon, as we start thinking about it,
those that don't know always talk about, they think it's just one eye. There's 2 eyes, and each has different meaning. You need 2 eyes to see in this plane of existence. So
back in the day, landed all the way over here to where the American eagle was supposedly modeled after Horus, which being the hawk and also being able to catch his prey and all that. And we know the bald eagle goes out and the way it catches his fish and everything else. But the American bald eagle, or was adopted since it's on the United States American dollar, was from the mythology story of Horus. Another point I would like to make, that this is considered the left eye of Horus. And the way they said it, that this left eye was taken from the moon and some say or sound of Horus, from Horus himself. So this was representing his left eye. Now, some say in some cases that Horus, detestable god, but not just any god, it was supposed to be tied to a pagan god. Okay, go do some of the research yourself. And that's because him being the son of Isis and Osiris is the reason that they tagged it that way. And if you go,
It's the reason we're talking about money today, and this whole talk this morning will have something to do with your finances, with prosperity and your abundance. We need an understanding of money so we can learn how to manipulate it and manage it for our own benefit. So I just thought this video would be a good way to start the day. Greetings, greetings, greetings.
go and look at a lot of background of other type of religions, especially Mormonism, as well as Masonry or Masonry. All of these actually have some type of pagan built into their type of philosophy or the way they teach it. But the main question that I like to ask is the big question, and that is what we all should be asking. So that question is why? Why is it in our pockets? Why is it embedded into the American dollar bill? And that's the question we should be asking. So now we have to at least consider that this dollar bill is not just currency that we're using. It's actually a blueprint for some type of control system or authority. So as we move to number 5 on our list, which we go here to this pyramid itself, okay? This pyramid itself, if you go to your dollar bill and you look closely, has 13 levels to it, okay? And you can go and, like I say, just count them yourself. And this 13 actually is on everything on this dollar bill. And you'll see some of that as we go further here too. But
Oh, that's interesting.
13 is the number, but 13 levels is specifically placed number 5 right here. If we go look in the Bible that is taught, then 13 is considered the rebellion. America was founded from all of the people that actually rebelled, okay? They rebelled or they did a rebellion, and you know who it was against? King George. So that's who they actually rebelled from. America rebelled, or the people that form America rebelled from King George. So maybe that's their message saying, hey, this is a total rebellion, but it's worth, again, you can go look that up. Place in the comments if you have something different, because this is for all of us, right? So let's move on, because we have 5 more to continue with here. And as we get to number 6, that would be these Roman numerals.
Thank you for joining us.
Find right here at the bottom of this pyramid. And now, what most people say, if you look at these Roman numerals, this actually represent the founding of, or the start of, the Illuminati. Now, based on the Roman numerals that we see here, it actually tells us that the Illuminati date was May 1st.
Okay, so we might finish this out, but there's so much stuff I wanted to get to today. It's been quite a long weekend. A lot of things are going on. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Thank you for joining us. We're going to do some card readings in a second. Just want to go through some other things. I always different when people say the Illuminati. Illuminati means light, to illuminate, so people always give it a bad rep. And I think that's just the way our society is. Anything that wants to enlighten you or to wake you up, it's that's bad. That's bad. It's just the way these ages work, just the way that society works. It doesn't want to be enlightened. It wants to equate enlightened with something negative. When the Adam and Eve ate an apple and gained knowledge, because it was the tree of knowledge that they ate of, right? All of a sudden, that was a bad thing. To have knowledge is a bad thing. Anything that liberates you, anything that raises you up, is always seen as a bad thing. You ever notice that? So I'm gonna let him finish out just a little bit longer, and then we're gonna get into some other stuff.
17 76. So that's the day that the Illuminati was formed, which is sitting right here at the bottom, which gives you some indication who's probably behind this. But I will tell you, in here is a secret code that tells us exactly who owns it. They did it, but this will be a whole nother video. If you want to see that video, I will break this whole symbol down. It's going to be, it'll blow you away, but they actually say who owns and who's running all of this. They put it right here in front of us. Let me know in the comment. That'll be another video.
We're going to do
So
a
that takes us
5-part
over
read in a
here
second.
now, which is number 7, which is right there. And that there gets real interesting when you look at this particular symbol. So you can kind of open the dollar bill if you got one and follow along. If you count this, it's 13 stars, okay?
It may have been.
That's in there. There's 13 stars. You should know by now.
I don't think the Illuminati sends out invitation, but you know, you never know. Maybe should have followed it down the rabbit hole, see where it went.
13 to them represent, again, say it with me, rebellion. So rebellion is all over this particular instrument that we have in our pocket, or tool of authority, whatever you want to call it, a coded message. And for some of us, that dollar bill, y'all. Now I'm going to butcher this a little bit, but you can see it's E. If you look at it real close, then the next word is, if I can pronounce that right, will be pluberus. Okay, so E pluberus, and the third word is unum. Okay, E pluberus unum. That's what is said right here. Now this has a hidden message too, and it's a Latin word, and it's a real deep meaning, because it says this, and I'm gonna make this pretty big: from many, and then means one. So it's saying from many, one. And
let's leave it right there, because I think this kind of correlates into something I received this weekend that I want to talk shortly about as before we get into our reading. There's nothing new in the world. There's nothing new in the world. You can't know something you don't know. You can't know something you don't know. So everything that is manifested in this world is a corruption and a duplication of the true source, of the real world, right? So if they're trying to say from many as one, we already know that's oneness. That source already has already put into place that we're journeying back to oneness. So this is just a duplication of that. I get a lot of people send me information, and you have to remember there's nothing new in the world. All of it's being copied. You may have just became aware of it. It's like someone who finds Christianity and all of a sudden, you know, they know the truth. They want to save you, and they have discovered something that they thought that no one else knew but them. And now it's their job to recruit you. They're so excited about it. And they're like, oh, have you heard the word? Have you heard the good news? And you're like, get out of here, fool. Get out of here, fool. I haven't heard all of that, but it's new to them. There's nothing new in the world. So how was everyone's weekend? How did you guys, everyone have a good weekend? I want to get into a little bit of my weekend and talk about some of the things I did this weekend. I told you we should go out more, be social, touch grass, you know, talk to people, get out of our circles, get back into community. It's a beautiful thing. People are not scary as the world tries to make you. I guess that works too. But you get out into the world a little bit, connect with people, find some new friends, make some new friends, expand your mind. So this weekend, I had an opportunity to check out a few things. And one of the things I went to was, I think it's called Reclaim ATL. Okay. And I like the reclaim or the reuse movement. You know, we produce so many new things. There's so many things that have value just gets cast away. I always have been a big fan of recycling and reclaiming. So I went to this event called Reclaim ATL. It was a pop-up. I went to go get a pair of these pants. These are not the pants, but I got another pair from this vendor there. These are not it. This is what I wore there, but there was another set that I wanted, a pair of pants like that, and I kind of like it. So this is how I look when I'm standing up, when I'm out and about. You know, I have many looks, but this is one of my favorite looks. Yeah, I'm going out. You know, it's the weather's nice. Don't no. I know you, sister, like to just go and be in nature, but we need to be in community too. We need to be in community too. We need to connect with each other. We need to be a part of each other's journey, to aid each other's in our journeys, and you know, just to be those resources for each other. Something happens, you can always rely on your family. Too many times we don't have family, we don't have friends, we don't have any of this stuff. And I think that we're going to need this as we move forward. We're going to go back to these small communities, small, big, larger families. As the world implodes, we need to be more connected with each other. So let's get into our readings real quick. We're going to do a 5-card reading. We're going to look at the past energy. So today's message is this: the end. A lot of things are happening. A lot of things are going on. The world ends for someone every day. Someone goes to their next journey every day. So, you know, the ending is always a new beginning. But is this the end? It's a question that I want to pose to the collective as we move into, our next existence, right? So let's do a 5-card reading. Let's see what our first card is. First card is power. Power. That was our first card. The past has been 5D is all about power. It's all about masculine energy. It's all about domination. So I think that's a good way to start our conversation is with the card of power, right? That's the past. Let's look at power. Power says, you are powerful, you are worthy, you are sovereign. It is time to remember your worth. Drawing this card invites you to take your place in the starting role of your life. There's no need to play small here. You are being granted permission to display your strength for all to see at the time. So we're going to expand on that reading a little bit, and we're going to say we are leaving a system that was actually based in power, okay, based in masculine energy. Might makes right, okay. This is the symbol of the sun, which is also the symbol of the masculine energy. So this is the phase that we're moving from, okay. It has led us to what we are going through right now. It has led us to the problems that we are having right now. And you see that when you have immovable forces with what do you call that? Immovable forces being pushed by resistance. I'm not even saying that right, but I think it's when resistance meets a immovable force meets a resistance or something along those lines. Let me look at what that saying is really quick. It's going to bug me. When immovable come on. Immovable object meets an unstoppable force. What happens when an immovable object meets an unstoppable force? And that's the reality that we're living in right now. We have forces at work here. Some are immovable, some are unstoppable, and they're clashing. So we're living in a power clash society right now. We can see it playing out. We can see it playing out in a lot of ways. But you don't dwell in the fear of it. because this is meant to happen for us to evolve, for us to grow, for us to continue to our next plane of existence, right? So that is the past, right? Let's see what the current energy is. Meditate. As I said, do not be afraid. Do not be stressed out. Relax. Be present in the moment. Know that all is well. All is well here. That you're supposed to be here now. You are not late. You are not early. You are in the right place at the right time. Know this. Know this, y'all. Know this. 40. This is our Monday morning reading. We'll see what kind of energy we can pick up today. Drawing this card asks you to create more stillness in your life. Utilize meditation, breath work, and other gentle activities to relieve stress and bring more peace into your entire being. You may need to take a break from your daily duties for clarity. Your current situation may be distracting you, so more quiet time and less attachment are required. As the world goes crazy, you need to really retreat and sometimes cut off the TV, cut off the social media, because all that is energy, and all that energy will affect you. All that energy is going to have some type of effect. It's funny, people say they don't believe in energy, but you know, if you watch TV and you look at all that chaos, right, you can't tell me you're not affected and you're not paranoid and you're not scared, right? Because energy, you know, has a way of attaching itself, right? I'm gonna do a quick hat switch really quick. See what we got. Black and white. Did you say black and white? Black and gray. Oh, black and white. Black and white. Black and white. Take off my crown and switch hats. Monday morning. Monday morning. You can't tell me Monday doesn't have energy either. Monday has the energy too. So I've been thinking about meditation. That's all we know in the spiritual space is meditation. People say you should meditate more. You should meditate more. I want to give you some new light around meditation and what we should be doing more, right? We should be resting more, not sleeping, right? And you might fall asleep while you're resting, but we should be resting more, right? Just being present in a moment of rest. All right. I think you mentioned it, sister, about needing to reset and not really, because meditation sometimes can be a practice that you're working at, right? And I don't want to take away from meditation, but I think we should kind of evolve into understanding rest and just being present in a moment of rest. There's so much going on energetically that maybe we should start resting more. I know in some places, like during the workday, you are able to go take a nap, and they say people are more effective when they take naps, right? And then we get on this schedule of sleep, and I don't really think that's really doing many people any good, because a lot of people are not getting really a rest in their sleep. They're constantly stressing subconsciously, or traveling, astral traveling, doing something. I think it should be something called conscious resting. Like I believe in like conscious eating, conscious listening. I think we should practice constant conscious resting. What do you guys think? Conscious resting, or just resting. All right. Just not doing anything. Just being present, and learning how to take back our power by not completing tasks, but by just being in our space. And people say, what are you doing? You're like, I'm resting. You're resting. And that's why I think it may be the correct path, because it's something the world does not like. And people are like, well, you ought to meditate. Meditation is a practice. It takes time to learn how to meditate, but we can rest at any time. We can just stop your activity. If we look at, the creation of the world and God, and we emulate that as God working, right? God being a reflection of us, right? And we say that we're God's. Well, what did God do on the seventh day? on the Sabbath, God rested. And I mean, just cease from your work, cease from your struggle, cease from your constant needing to accomplish things. I think we should do more resting, especially now, especially as we move from 3D into more of a 5D reality. Learn the value of resting, not so much meditation, because that's a practice. That's something you're actively doing. Rest is something that you're not doing. All right. I always like to remember this. Let me look this up really quick. Rest is a verb and noun or action. So rest is both a action, which is a verb, and a noun, referring to the cessation of work, movement, or activity to relax, recover, or sleep. As a verb, it describes the action or pausing or relaxing. Also, it's a supportive verb. To rest your head indicates to remain in a state of peace. Let's learn to rest, not meditate. See, I'm here to bring new light, to evolve the consciousness. And as we think about, I'm going through my feed, and they just keep repeating meditation, like it's just people get stuff and they just running in the ground, with no understanding of it. Meditation is actually a practice. It takes some skill and constant work to learn how to meditate. All right, it's not something that happens in your conscious state. You have to go into a state of meditation. You have to learn to discover the spaces between your thoughts. That's what meditation is. It's about finding the space between your thoughts, that emptiness, right? But I want to talk about just resting, daydreaming, fantasizing, laying there, not sleeping, Well, that's what I'm trying to get away from. It's not sleeping. It's just a sensation of doing anything. Just not doing anything. Like say you on a beach and the weather is warm and you can hear the waves and you hear the children playing and the people and you feel the heat. You're not asleep. You're not asleep, right? You're not unconscious. You're not laid up, curled up with a blanket. You're just resting. You're just rejuvenating your body, being still for a moment. And you're not meditating. You're not at the beach. And so you can't go to the beach and meditate, and you can't go to the beach and sleep. But I'm just saying, you're not usually in that state when you're resting. You're just, not doing anything. You're not trying to meditate. You're not trying to go to sleep. You're not trying to be active. And I think that's something that we need to understand and get back to just understanding that maybe we need to move into another state of being, which is called rest. Because I try to emulate the universe, source code. I was thinking about this the other day, that a lot of people worship this deity called God, which is not the true God. It's the demiurge, right? And a lot of people tend to follow that God and say that's the God. And other people tend to follow other beings and say that's the God. And my idea of what I can experience as divine is nature. I don't know nothing about books. I mean, there's some very powerful writings in a lot of spiritual books. I don't take anything away from Christian, the Christian Bible, or anything away from the Buddhist teaching, or any way from anything. You can argue back and forth among yourself about that, right? But what I do know that we all can agree on is there's a tree, there are bees, there's a sunset and a sunrise, there's waves. So we can understand that there's some type of creation force at work there, something that we both can see and agree on. How can we both argue about a tree? You may argue about what it's called, but we know there's a tree, right? So when you get into your biblical understanding, you're going to get to points of argues and points of view, because most religions are based on that culture, right? As they say, God is created in our image. right? And we should be trying to be understanding our self in God's image, not understanding God in our image. We see God as two legs and hair and the personification. We should not try to understand God in that way, but understand God as a divine force, as a consciousness, something ununderstandable. And so I was thinking about this, and I was like, they did give us the secret to God. See, I've been re-engineering everything that we think we know. I wonder where we got it from, because we didn't invent nothing. We haven't discovered anything. There's no new knowledge. All this already existed. So I'm like, okay. So we look at technology, and I explained earlier in other videos how AI is actually already existed, and was Gaia. It's actually made out of silicone. The computer chips are actually made out of the earth, right? It comes from sand. It's actually made out of the earth, right? And so we think that we discovered artificial intelligence, which has already been ancient intelligence that was already encoded in Gaia, and they're just gatekeeping it now and reintroducing it back to you. The actual board in a computer system is called the motherboard. It's actually called a motherboard, just as we call Earth Mother Earth, right? So it's all just something they just, we done discovered this, we invented this. No, you just stole it and repurposed it, and now you represented it, okay? And then us not even having the conscious awareness of it, think we're finding out something new. Well, I don't like AI. Well, you don't like Earth? You don't like Mother Earth? It's just funny to me, right? So one of the things that they do in technology, I think you sent me, sister, about this video of, what was the last video you sent me? Something they think that they created. Oh, about the World Wide Web, right? So we have the World Wide Web, which allows me to talk to you and us to communicate. We have phones and have access to knowledge and stuff like that. We already had that in spirituality. It's called oneness with source. We are all supposed to be able to telepathy, be able to communicate with each other through our own self connection to source. That's already the world. Think about the name. Why did they name it the World Wide Web? It was not already part of the world. They could have called it anything, right? But it's was already there. They just put some machines in front of them and said, oh, we done discovered this new. You don't even know where this information is coming from. What if these data centers are dug into the earth, with their tentacles and their wires, and just pulling information up, right? You think that, it's us sharing information, but they could be getting information from the Akashic records. We already know this stuff spiritually. We need to tap back into our true selves and not depend so much on this technology and thinking that they're discovering something, because we're the original technology. All this is the original technology. Everything you see has already existed. You need to understand they're not inventing anything new. They're corrupting it and gatekeeping it, but they're not inventing anything new. So all this stuff already existed. And I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about God as source code, right? Those that are not in the computer field, I have a background in computer technology, right? I'm not no super duper hacker programmer, but I worked in the field, made good money in the field, right? Had careers in the field. So I understand a little bit about technology, right? And so everything has a source code, right? It has a root code. The computers are not communicating with you like I'm seeing you. They're changing it into electrical signal, and they're transmitting that electrical signal, and they're decoding it and presenting it back as a visual signal, right? But all this operates under a source code. And I was thinking about that as I was trying to understand the gods and the entities that have taken possession of our reality and has given us this false reality, right? That they're not the true gods. They are lying, and they just have access to the source code to the divine source code. That's why we call it divine source. They have access to the divine source code, and they have lied and manipulated us and told us that they are the gods, right? And they and ignored, because we don't look farther to say, oh, well, where did you get your power from? So you have to study that. You have to look into it yourself, right, to get more understanding. But I was just thinking about that as I do all the time, think about little things here and there. So we're doing a reading. We have the masculine energy, dominant, the force, right? This is called power, right? We sit on the base of power. Everything's about how powerful we are, how powerful, how we can dominate everything. That's the past, right? We're moving into what was called meditation, but I think it's more of a just being still, not letting all this really get to you, not trying to live in fear or scarcity. Just be still for a while. Let's see what the next card brings. The future boundaries, right? There is a split. There's a split. Immediately, I got this immediately with boundaries. There's a split between 3D and 5D. All right. A lot of you guys are you're hanging on the 5D. You're hanging on to the way that you used to think in defensiveness and scarcity and separation. And that's the boundary there. You're not going to be able to move into 5D because you don't want to let go of 3D. You're scared. You're afraid. But there's a boundary. There's things that you have to let go of to move in 5D. And part of that is what 4D is about. You hear a lot of talk about 3D and 5D, but you don't hear much talk about 4D. 4D is the process. It is the burning away of things that don't serve you, that don't serve 5D. There are no jobs in 5D. There's no jobs in 5D. I'm going to play a video, right? I'm going to take a little break because I love these videos, and I'm going to play this video really quickly. I'm going to see if I can do it as smooth. Probably not that transition as smooth as I like, but you guys know I like these guys' videos. So let's check out this video for a second.
Teams?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing great. Doing great. Listen, you are doing such a great job.
Oh, okay.
All of your tasks are being complete on time.
Thank you.
He does these videos on the workforce, and we all have been in there. Most of us have applied for jobs or applying for jobs or in that process. And it's just funny the way he presents it, because the only reason some things are funny is because they're true. That's the reason things are funny, because there's some truth in them. And that's what makes people laugh. And so I want you to check out his video and tell me, does this remind you of anything?
I mean, your numbers are just...
I'm about to get a promotion, right?
No. We're actually firing you. Yeah.
What? For what?
Because we can, to be honest with you.
So you just
It really doesn't have to have a reason.
I'm hitting my numbers.
I mean, your work performance doesn't matter anymore. So go ahead and pack your laptop up in the headphones and...
You know what's funny about that? You know how you can't say, people don't generally say homeless anymore. They just say you unhoused, right? They just say you're unhoused. You can't say people are homeless. You can't say they're unhoused. They're not even saying fired anymore. They say unhired. We are unhiring you. And that's when you put all your eggs. The only thing I can get of eggs in one basket. That's when you depend on one means of surviving. You have put yourself in a place where people can cross your boundaries. They can disrespect you. They can do. He said, we're firing you because we can. At will. I think Georgia's an at will state. Illinois, they couldn't do it as easily. But in Georgia, they can just come in one day and say, we're done. We're done here. No questions. Nothing we have to explain to you. And what do you do the next day? What do you do, the next week, right? When that rug just gets pulled from underneath you. Even with this social media, I'm discovering things about it. I'm like, woo, this is crazy work here. Is that Will here? Yeah, that's what I thought. It's that Will at Georgia. And the thing is that you don't want to be in that position. And I'm talking to everyone that I possibly could talk to. There's better ways, and we're going to get into it. But there's better ways, right? That you can position yourself. That you're sitting there and you're saying, well, I got a job. And the thing is, they wait till you got a house note. They wait till you got a car note. They wait till you have overextended yourself. Because most people live up to their income, if not above. They don't live, if you make money, most people don't live less. They try to live at that means or even above. So they overextend themselves and they realize that, they got you over. They can do what they want. They can do exactly what they want. Is it the end? It could be if you aren't preparing yourself. If you're not prepared, it could easily be the end. You should not trust. By now, I don't know, maybe it's just my age. I don't really trust anything that this society, because I done found out so many lies that I don't trust. I just don't trust anything that they're saying. Because you discover even in what you were taught in school, you realize all that was a lie. All that was manipulation. You go to church, you realize they've been manipulating and lying to you there. They don't have all the answers, right? You go to your government. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican, right? One side is, lying to you to get you. The other side is lying to you. I mean, it's all lies and deception. So so part of the idea is soul sovereignty is that you take some self-responsibility. I know that's a big, scary word. Say that with me. Self-responsibility, right? That you have some means to which you can take more control of your life. In this spiritual journey, it's not just about, self-reflection and being aware. It's about taking responsibility for yourself. And I know it's so easy to turn it over to Jesus. Jesus, take the wheel. As they say, cars didn't even exist back then. How Jesus gonna take your wheel? I'm just joking. We're like, Jesus, take the wheel. No. And that's why people stick to religion. They stick to that because they don't have to have no responsibility. They don't have to think about anything. It's scary, right? We want to turn it over to somebody else. We want to give it to somebody else, right? Even when I'm reading this, people want me to give them answers. And I kind of resist that. I kind of resist that because I want you to be able to do it for yourself. I want you to tap into your internal guidance, your third eye, your awareness, right? Your intuition. And on the Patreon side, we're going to talk about the Patreon side that I have laid out. And I'm going to explain the route that we're taking on Patreon. Usually I will end this video and we'll go on the Patreon side. I'm going to change it up a little bit, right? I'm going to post, man, you make that rhyme and you're going to have a bar here. You make it rhyme, you can have a bar, sister. We act like we need a middleman for everything. We got to stop. We got to make that rhyme. And then once you make it rhyme, that's going to be a bar. But even on the Patreon side, I'm going to lay out exactly how I come up with the numbers that we use in the games of chances, right? But I'm asking people that you can do it yourself, right? By tapping more into your divine alignment. But again, it's easier sometimes for me just to give people the information than for them to try to, discover it for themselves, right? So let's look at what the future, what we need to let go. We got the 5D power structure. We're going to learn to rest, relax, and reconnect, right? And then we have the boundaries between 5D and 3D, and realizing that you're not getting to 5D hanging on to jobs and ways of thinking in 3D. You can't get to 5D by the way you think. 5D is a consciousness, right? When someone said a dimension is a direction, it's the way that you perceive reality, right? Do you think you're gonna be floating around and in some type of space environment? No, you basically gonna be in a very physical place, but it's the way that it's perceived that makes it a better place than 3D. It's just like moving from a ghetto neighborhood, and Earth is ghetto. 3D is ghetto as fuck. It's horrible in 3D. I can barely stand here right now and teach in 3D because 5D calls me all the time, right? And I've experienced 5D. I know what 5D is, right? It's a state of mind, it's a state of consciousness, right? And this is ghetto, but this doesn't happen in 3D, but you have to go to 4D, which means you have to let go of a lot of things that keep you bound here, like a job, which is only keeping you tied to someone else's agenda and not your own soul sovereignty. I don't care how good your job is, you are answering to someone else. So you say, what do we do in 5D? We actually live and work in our mission and our purpose and in our passion. And those things bring us the things that we need to sustain ourselves. Like, let's say you're a great painter and you really haven't had a chance to discover your skill because someone told you that you need to get a job as a factory worker. So you've been working in 3D miserably, working in the factory, right? And so you never have really tapped into what your passion and love is. See, in 5D, you can do that and then be rewarded for that. They find value in that. You got to understand, society changes all the time. If you're like, that'll never happen. What about living in the old West and going outside and crapping in the outhouse? Do you still do that? Maybe some of you still do that, right? You know, you go into an outhouse and you crap. That was that reality. That was that reality, right? Nothing, indoor plumbing did not exist, right? Until someone, said, okay, it's a better way of doing this, all right? We don't have to go out in the dark with a light, shiny. And those outhouses that had to be moved occasionally. It's only so much crap you can put in one spot, okay? Then you had to move it, cover it up, and move it somewhere else, dig a hole and put the crap there, okay? That was that reality. It's still part of 3D, but I'm just saying that was that reality, that perception. When you move into 5D, there's a different perception. Now, I can take some of you that have been done to indoor plumbing. Okay, maybe I'm going to share too much. Right? I went to Puerto Rico, right? And stayed in an Airbnb. And this was after they had this huge storm in Puerto Rico. It was years later, but the infrastructure, the United States never invested in Puerto Rico to build their infrastructure back. So it was still a lot of rough spots in Puerto Rico. So I stayed in an Airbnb that you couldn't put toilet paper in the toilet, all right? Because of it would like jam up the system or something, right? Yeah, I don't know. It was flushing out into the sea or what the problem. So you couldn't put it in the toilet, right? And you had to put it in the wastebasket. My whole body shut down. Right? For 3 days, I'm cramping because I cannot do that. I cannot do that, okay? I'm used to going to a bathroom and doing my business and not even looking behind me and just moving forward in life, washing my hands. I don't think about nothing else. If I have to think about putting something in a wastebasket and knowing that's sitting next to me and then have to take it out I can't do it. So for 3 days, I'm cramping because my body would not let me do that. I am hurting. My body would not let me do that. So that was the reality of where I was at, right? And my body could not function in that reality. I hope I'm not being too graphic. I'm trying to give you an example of reality and how your physical form molds itself to reality. Some of the things that people do, right? Like eating food in, let's say, the 1600 or the 1500, right? Would kill you, right? The way, you go in them walking down them stalls and the fish have been sitting down there all day, right? And you picking fish for dinner and flies and stuff. I had a friend tell me that he was a merchant seaman, and he went to some country, and he was in this mall, this shopping mall where they were selling food and stuff like that. And he saw this meat hanging, and he said it was black. The meat was black, just black. And he was looking at it, it was just black, right? And he just kept looking at it because it looked weird to him. And then the guy waved his hand, and all the flies flew off the meat. The guy was selling that meat. See, we have FDA, we have USDA here. Half the stuff would unalive us in other countries. You go to some of these developed countries, oh, you gonna be cramping, right? I know it was nasty, right? And these people were eating this because their bodies had the protections or the bacteria, whatever they needed to survive. We don't have that. We don't have that. And I agree, a lot of things we take make our bodies weaker, like vaccines and things like that. They make us, because our system don't develop it. And they have to give us shots to develop those antibiotics. So our system will, see, when you get a flu shot, right, you're getting introduced to the flu. It's the flu. I don't know if people know this, your vaccine, it is the actual thing in a small dose. So your body can develop the antibodies for it, because your body needs to know what it is. See, that's why I say we're the original technology. You guys don't understand how well source code put us together. So when your body, that's why when you get a shot, you get a little sick. The shot make you a little sick because your body is developing the antibodies for it. Okay, because your body don't know what it is, so it needs to kind of figure out what it is and develop an antibody for it, right? So my whole point is that you live in a certain reality, and your body mirrors that reality. That reality has been different from other realities and other places in time. And so when you move into 5D reality, your body understands that as 5D reality and copes with it. That's why when a lot of us are in doing the spiritual work and get a sense of a higher state of consciousness, this becomes very ghetto to us. 3D becomes very ghetto to us. It ain't because we become super prejudiced or have our noses up in the air or have some great grand opinion of ourselves. It is the simple fact is that when you see something better, you know when something's worse. I'm gonna say that again. When you have seen something better, I don't care if it's just a little peak, like say you have stopped eating a certain things and you feel better, and then when you go back and eat that thing, it makes you sick. When you see something better, just doing a little work on yourself, you start to see something better, right? Start to self-examining yourself, start to being still and thinking about what you're saying, maybe working through clearing your chakras, tapping through that energy, moving that energy around. And then you start to say, oh, that's ghetto. That's crazy. Why would you do that? Don't do that. You know what I mean? And then you start seeing more and more. The more work you do on yourself, the higher your consciousness becomes. And the more you see that, wow, this is terrible. So you say, well, why do we come back to this place? It's the simple fact is because you're doing work on yourself. You're becoming a better person, that you have empathy for those that have not realized it yet. See, that's why Christianity and religions don't make any sense to me, because if you're a good enough person to get into a good place, you will be good enough to say, I want other people to experience this. I want other people to be a part of this, right? I don't understand their pain and their trauma, but I think we can help them some kind of way. So you become so empathetic that you keep coming back here, right? And you're like, wow, this is really bad here, but you are so good that you want to help people. Religion doesn't say that. Religion say, you say, nah, boo-boo, you should have accepted Jesus as your savior, right? Now look at you. Now look at you, fool. Now look at you, right? How can you be you're a psychopath? If you take joy in other people's pain and suffering, you are in turn a psychopath in your own right. Let's pull another card, because we're looking at what what we call 3D. We're gonna call this one being still, rest, right? You know what rest is? Look at the video, rewind it. We had this as rest, and then we had this as moving into 5D reality. Is this the end? Hopefully, we're getting to the end. And time is not relevant, but time is relevant. Is that I'm like, ooh, when can we get this over with? When can we get this over with? All right. When can it, I read something where like spiritual people really don't like you like that. I thought there's some truth in everything funny. Like spiritual people really don't like you like that. We just know we got to help you. And I'm like, I really don't like you like that. You know what I mean? But I really want to help you. All right. So trying to move you into a higher state of reality, let you know that 5D waits for you, but you can't bring that crap up 3D with you. You won't fit through the door. You won't fit through the door. Right? I know somebody who took the airline stewardess or attendant job. They were applying for it, right? And there's a part where you have to pass through the door without touching the sides, right? And this person I know is pretty big. And they gave him 2 chances to pass through the door without touching the side, right? And they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it, right? And the thing is, right, I get it. They can't make you be a certain size, but they be damned if one of their employees, their attendants, jam up the door. They be damned if you cause all those people to perish because your fat ass can't get through the door. They ain't gonna hire you like that. They was like, sorry. I didn't know that was a thing, right? That was one of their tests, right? Could you gotta go through the door. What you like? I can go through the door. I don't know what door they were trying to go through, the escape door, but I can go through the door without touching the side. But I know this person couldn't do it. I know they couldn't do it, so they didn't get the job. That's crazy. That's crazy, all right? Oh, look at our favorite. We were just talking about this in the video. I don't know if this is the eye of Horus or the eye of Ra, but we're talking about the eye, right? And the eye always represents, what are we looking at? Healer. We're looking at healer, right? We are ready. Is this the end? Are we moving from 3D reality? Learning to rest and retreat from all the noise, letting go of all that energy that does not serve us so we can move into that and going into our new professions. What do you need to let go? This idea that these jobs and these things that you're doing are going to have some value in the new world. No one cares about widgets and toys. You think about everything that's being done here generates another job, right? So if you have a sports team, you got to have somebody make the helmets. You got to have someone make the uniforms. You got to have someone take advantage. It's always amazing to me that people don't think about this, right? They say like, if Michael Jordan, right, has a contract and you pay him $30 million, right? I'm going to pay Michael Jordan $30 million and I got a whole team of people I'm going to pay. How much money am I making? That's crazy, ain't it? If I can pay you $30 million and pay other people 10 million, 20 million, 15, like basketball, like when in baseball, I think that like the highest, hold on for a minute. The highest payout in sports. I don't know who this guy is. Oh, he's a golfer. He's making 260 to 285 million. That's how much he has made, right? He's made that much money The other top payers are golfers and soccer players. If you can pay somebody that, and I'm really thinking about sports team and figures, right? If you can pay somebody that, right? How much money are you making? How much money are you making? If I can pay you 30 million, 20 million, and I can pay another person 20 million or 30 million, how much money am I making? See, that's why I say capitalism doesn't exist in 5D, right? Only things that matter, careers that matter, healers, teachers, leaders are the only thing that matters in 5D, right? Because everything else is just given, right? We can get into the economics of how it works, right? But all those other professions, capitalism doesn't exist. Greed doesn't exist because you left all those things behind, right? And everyone is working for the betterment of everyone, not in socialism, right? In a different type of system. And I actually went through the process with AI, and maybe we need to discuss that, how there is a better system than capitalism, right? Me and AI broke down a better system that works better, that serves individually needs, but also answers the needs of the collective. It's out there. The answer is out there. It's not like something that's made up, because you got to understand that I said earlier about Western society, where you had the guns in the streets. Meet me at high noon and we're going to shoot it out. You don't have nothing like that here. No one can meet somebody in the streets and shoot it out. But that was that reality. That was self-defense. That was okay, right? We live in a society where that's not okay. And we're going to move to another society where capitalism and greed is not okay. It's just not accepted, right? When you tell somebody that, oh, I'm going to loan you $10 and you're going to pay me back $15. See, that makes sense to us now. They're like, okay, that makes sense because that's what you're used to. That's how you understand, the way this world works. But there are other ways that don't take advantage of people, that don't exploit people, that don't use people. We don't have that mindset yet. I've seen it. We don't have that mindset yet. So to you, it's impossible, right? Just like socialism would be impossible, or like if you lived in China, you couldn't live on that system because you're used to this system, which is just exploits you as much. They just lie about it. All right. Like they got this whole thing of, oh, you bought your house. People walk around and say, I own my house. I own my house. No, you don't. You miss a property payment on there, and you'll see who owns it. Miss a property payment, a property tax, and you'll see you don't own anything here. You just think you own. At least in other countries, they tell you don't own nothing. In other countries, they say you don't own nothing. The government owns everything. Here, they lie to you and say you own something. But if you own your car, pay your car off. But don't put a sticker on it, right? I bet you can't drive it nowhere. I bet you can't drive it nowhere without getting a ticket. And maybe you don't pay no ticket, you don't get it impounded. So did you own it? If you own something, it can't be taken away from you, right? If you own it, if you truly own it, it can't be taken away from you, right? Yeah, it's more of the illusion. I know I'm waking you up Monday morning while you got to go to work and deal with the world as it is. But I just want to make a point that they just lying to you in so many ways. You don't own anything here. Every profession here, everything that you do here has no value at all. All right. They're doing only the things that matter to people, that help people in their life journey, are going to have their own value. And you're not going to be paid in money. You're not going to be paid in money. You're going to be paid how people in their own, like if I if I make clothes and you come and you be a doctor to me, then I will make clothes for you. There would not be a monetary system that is unfair, right? And we were talking about money before and how they have aligned money to be an unfair system. It is unfair, okay? And I'm thinking about Bitcoin and how you mine for Bitcoin by doing these mathematical equations, and you can create some new value with that. That's mind-blowing in itself. but it also proves there are other systems out there. So if you think 5D is impossible, it's not. Just like they thought indoor plumbing. You know, they used to think that when they invented the automobile, they said if you went over 50 miles an hour, you would suffocate. You couldn't breathe if the car went over 50 miles per hour. We found out that's not true. You know, so as you learn, there's other ways of thinking, right? You're gonna find out a lot of things they told you was to keep you in that mindset that this is the only way that this works, right? But there are other ways that it could work too. So what do we need to bring in, right? We need to let go of the doubts that we can't provide for ourselves and understand the earth provides. The earth provides. Everything you need is given already to you. Everything you need, everything attaches to something real. That money only has such a hold on one second. I want to make a note really quick. Right. Before they had cash, they had silver doubloons. No, the British pound. Before American dollars was the dominant currency, they had the British pound. The yen is really chasing the dollar now. It's really becoming more valuable than the dollar. But before they had the American dollar, they had the British pound. People only buy and sell with the British pound. But before the British pound, they had I think it was eight pieces of silver. You had to have 8 pieces of silver was the way they actually transaction with things with those money bags you've seen in the old movies. They used to have money bags. You know what's funny about driving? I think we all have our comfortable speed. I feel comfortable at driving 80 miles an hour. I just feel comfortable driving. Anything under 80, it just doesn't feel comfortable. Anything above 80, makes me nervous. But 80 miles an hour, I think my body say, okay, I can handle anything coming at 80. And I get it. Some people like to drive at 70, 60, usually in front of me. They used to love driving at 60 and 70 in front of me. They will pull over in my lane to drive slow, which is crazy work, right? But for the government to say, well, this is the limit of speed, because you can be unalived at 65. You can be unalive at 65 miles per hour, right? You can be unalive at 55. But for the government to say, oh, well, this is the right for everyone, again, it's a system of control. You the traffic. You are the traffic. You are the traffic. It is the system of control, right? Dictating everything that fits everyone. Like religion has this idea that everything fits everybody. The government said, well, let's fit everybody with this number. All right. But I was talking about, we're looking at different monetary systems, and they all don't have any value except the value that we apply to them. Because before, they had cocoa shells that had some value. I give you 10 cocoa shells, you give me 5 cocoa shells back. This is values assigned by the community, by the society. It's not by the object. It's that we all think a dollar is valuable, so a dollar is valuable. Again, we create the reality. We create the reality of it, right? So you think it, everyone thinks it, everyone accepts it, all right? But the true reality, everything comes from the earth. Everything that has any real value comes from the earth, not the made up reality that we give it. The earth, like water, has a real value. Try not drinking it. It has a real value. Now, whether we apply some monetary value to it, I get that, but water in itself has real value. Land has a real value. So all your value comes from the earth. And as we move into 5D reality, this becomes the only thing that's important. Yeah, collective agreement. A collective agreement. So before we move to this video I want to show, I want to talk about the numbers. And we're going to come back to the numbers. Those that are paying attention and are looking for ways out to benefit themselves, I want you to pay close attention to these numbers. 46, 40, 26, 32, and 11. All right. I can't, it's going to take me some time to post which numbers own the day, but this is what we're looking at. These are the numbers that we'll be pulling from, right? And then I'll do a post on Patreon. If you're not part of the Patreon community, become part of the Patreon community, and I'll post which numbers owns the day. These are the numbers that have high numerical value today. We're looking at 46, 11, 32, 40, and 26. And I do, so you can join Patreon free and you can get the numbers that own the day. And these are just generally energetic numbers. But each tier, I do a little bit more work breaking it down. And we're going to discuss that, how I break it down a little bit more each tier to give you more of an insight on which numbers are very positive for the day for our games of chance. That's what we've been working on last couple of days, last week or so. We're going to continue to work on that, is our games of chance. Let me show this video really quick before I get into the next part of what I want to talk about.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Man, that was an outstanding interview. After reviewing your resume, everything looks great. You have more than enough experience.
So I got the job, right? Did I get the job?
No. Here's the thing. You took a bathroom break in the middle of your interview.
Okay, but that don't
Listen, I understand.
Shout out to my employees that have to ask to use the bathroom. Big shout out that you have to ask to use the bathroom.
But taking bathroom breaks in the middle of your interview doesn't quite show active attendance. Neither does it show intentionality of presence. And we need to know that, yes, we are desperately looking.
How many times you tell your children as they're growing up and they say, I got to use the bathroom and the teacher will let me leave? You're like, you go to the bathroom. Who cares what that teacher says? How many times you told your children that? And then you work on jobs where, especially factory jobs, where you just can't get off that line unless someone gives you permission. We talking about them boundaries. We talking about being under other people's jurisdiction. It's crazy work to me. And I'm going to give you a way out. I'm going to give you a way out of it. All right. So what I want to talk about is I want you to take note of these numbers. Just like you took note of the readings, and if the reading resonated with you and helps you in your journey, please use it to guide you in your journey. But what else I want to give you is the numerical value of these numbers: 26, 32, 46, 11, and 40. Okay. So what we do on this part, and let me bring this up really quick. I actually wrote an article. It's on the Patreon page. It's free to read. It's free to join Patreon. Right? I messed that up. Let me remove this one. Hold on. And bring this one up. So what numbers own the day? What I do is I look at these numbers and I usually pick about 3 of them that are really highly energetic, and I share that free on the Patreon, right? You can use those numbers in your different games of chances, be it 21, be it the lottery, Keno, whatever game that allows you to pick numbers. These numbers are very highly energetic, right? And it's called numerical handicapping. It's called numerological, all right, handicapper. It's based on the energetic power of different numbers. So let me break down exactly how this works so you guys have a better idea at it, all right? So when you using these numbers at gains or chances, I want you to think of it as using seed money, okay? So instead of putting the same amount of money on each of these numbers, right, you want to spread that money out to give you a better chance of winning, right? So the seed money is the money you allot for the different games or chances based on the amount that you are willing to lose. Listen to what I'm telling you. This is based on the amount that you're willing to lose, right? So you're not in that energetic energy of needing and desperation. Don't play if you are desperate for a win, all right? Because nothing comes to someone desperate. Nothing comes to anyone thirsty, all right? So you got to know what money am I willing to lose. That's the first thing you set your energy up as and say, okay, what can I lose? That's your seed money, right? Now, what I do is offer you what's called a frequency of scaling, all right? By checking the energetic alignment that can be assigned to each numerical number, which numbers are hot, which numbers are really low vibrational, which numbers are high vibrational. We look at the numbers that we receive and we apply that frequency scaling to them, right? So there's different ways to do it. One is low frequency play. All right, that's just a standard alignment, right? These numbers they're visible, the vibration is clear, but the energy has not fully peaked, right? So I throw that out there right here. These numbers that came up today, just like the readings came up, there's something numerically important about those numbers, right? All right, they may be good for 24 hours. Some are really hot in there, some are low energy. As I break them down, I find out really which ones are very hot, right? So we have the high vibrational, which is the mid frequency numbers. You get like confirmation what numbers are really coming in strong, right? You get a strong impression of them. And this is all in that article. You can go on the article on the Patreon side and read the article about it, right? I broke it all down, how I go about as a numerological handicapper, finding the best numbers that work, right? Not only, see, this is the thing I had, right? The problem I had. When you give someone a reading, right, it should help them make decisions through the day, knowing what energies around them, knowing how to navigate their day, right? The same can be applied to numerology, but they only been applying it in such broad areas like, oh, what is your birth number? Well, this means this and this means that. I want to give people something that really helps them in their life. So I looked at numerology and I started studying numerology, and I already had some history in it, but I went back and looked at it, right? And I said, oh, well, why can't we apply these high frequency numbers to games of chances, to gambling, right? That's the numbers. So see what numbers work and which numbers are high energy. And I have to thank my grandmother for this, because, they used to be about, what dreams they had, what numbers they saw, what day someone passed away, whatever. They'll play your death date. And so they were using the energy of those numbers to hit, right? I'm like, okay, let's see what we can do with this, right? So we have the mid-frequency play, right? That we got like combinations, right? When I look at these numbers and I start breaking down, I start looking at the root and the mirror of each one of these numbers. All right. Let me see hold on. I'm gonna look at the root of each one of these numbers and the mirror. Each number has a root and each number has a mirror. And we start looking at like what frequency, what's coming up, what numbers are repeating. Right now we see that's 40, 11. We see another 4 here. It's 3 and 2, and 2 and 6. So 6 and 8. This is 8. So that gives me 4 again. That's a 5. Okay. So I'm looking at 4. 4 already is jumping out to me, but I have to do some more work at it, right? Right. And then we have the high frequency numbers. These are called the lock, right? That these numbers are hot. Like here, 4 is very hot, right? So you got to put 4 in any play that you do today because 4 is hot, right? This is the energetic certainty of this number that is going to be hidden, right? And this energy lasts about 24 hours. So I'm going to put which numbers on the day, give that out to the collective. That's a free read. But if you want to get more into it, right, I'm not going to just give the number. I'm going to do some work, right? I'm going to do some more frequency scaling. I'm going to find out which numbers are really that hit these different areas. Depending on what tier, you'll get access to that number that I believe are going to hit on certain within a period of time. So in that, right, there's going to be on the Patreon side. If you look at the Patreon, do I have a Patreon? No, I don't have a Patreon page. But if you look at the Patreon side, right, there are like 3 tiers. One is feeling the vibe. That's the tier 1, right? You're going to get them weekly numbers, right? These numbers are for the week, right? It's going to give you that alignment of what numbers are really hot, right? And it's just a way of just entering it, right? Try it first. Try what I'm saying first with what numbers on the day. Those numbers are given out free. Play what numbers on the day, all right? Just to see if this works for you, okay? And then when you found comfortable enough, right, you have feeling the vibe tier where I do a little bit more work, okay? To give you some more, a certain surety in the numbers, right? Then we have lock in tier. This is a more work involved in really identifying those numbers that are really locked in, that we know these numbers have a more than 80% chance of hitting. All right. That's that tier 2. That pure alignment tier, the highest tier, is almost certainty that these numbers are going to happen. So my advice to the Conscious Collective is go in first, take the free numbers, see how it rocks with you. And as you start to win, as you start to have success, right, go into feeling the vibe tier, the locked in tier, or pure alignment tier, right? So you can use numerology and handicap games of chances with it. All right. This is practices that I've been kind of focused on using my knowledge around numerology and trying to give the collective a different means on being able to support themselves. I think we've been looking at it the wrong way, as we've been looking at a lot of things in our society the wrong way. We need to use the tools that are available to us to bring us into a more higher state of being. So that's definitely something that I want you guys to check out. The pure Patreon link will be in the link below in the description. Please check it out. Now, I also want to leave you guys with, if some of this has helped you in your journey or giving you some insight, all right, you can buy Baba a coffee. All right. You can scan the QR code. If you're watching this on TV, the link will be in the description. If you want to show your support for what I'm trying to do with the collective, if you want to keep this content coming and all the stuff that I'm trying to help you guys with, feel free to buy me a coffee, right? Whatever amount you feel comfortable with, you can definitely do that. That scan code will get you there, or the link in the description will get you there. So I want to leave you on that note. We're going to be talking about that because I think a lot of people really appreciate what I'm trying to do. There will be signs. And I think they want to support that. So that's your opportunity to support what I'm trying to do for the Conscious Collective, right? So that it works for everybody. It allows me to continue to constantly put this information out here and help you guys in your life journey, all right? So we covered a lot today. I hope something resonated with you in your life journey. Something made sense to you. Let me get this back down. Hold on 1 second. All right. I truly appreciate you guys allowing me to share my perspective, to share my views, all right, to share the reading with you. I hope the reading aids you. I really hope that the numbers work for you. The numerical, numerologically, numerical. I'm trying to think of the other word. Numerology actually helps you. All love and light. Thank you. All right. All right. So that being said, please like and subscribe to this channel. Let me know you support me in that way. All right. That means a lot too. If you want to go farther and buy me a coffee, that link is in the description. So that means a lot to me too. I truly appreciate that. Whatever amount that you feel actually works for you. All right. I think that's it. I really think that's it. I want to thank you guys again for allowing me to share this space with you. And so I want to wish everyone, right? What do I say? Love, light, health, and wellness in your life journey. Thank you guys. You have a great day.